Hello everybody, this is General Yanis, and today we are continuing to look inside the Thousand Sons Codex and continuing up the reviews with the Tzaangors, so the troop choice that could be a melee solution for the Thousand Sons Codex. In the Thousand Sons there is a lot of psychic power, there's a lot of shooting, but not so much melee, and maybe the Tzaangors could add something in this category. But let's get started. So today, the Saturday of the 28th of August, I'm considering to see if I can get a small starter army second-hand for Thousand Suns. So that could be interesting. That it seems like change is trying to make me change. But of course, Death Guard and Papa Nurgle will always be number one. So in this video, I will be looking at the Tzaangors, the troop choice, a cheap infantry troop choice for the Thousand Suns, looking at the stats and the abilities, comparing the weapon options, looking at the damage output, looking at the durability, and then comparing it to other similar units in the Thousand Suns and Death Card Codex, and then finally some combos, tactics, and the final summary. So let's take a look. So the Tzaangors base stats it's in the troop choice of the Thousand Suns. So the unit can be from 10 to 20 Tzaangors. The stats are they are costing 7 points per model, with a 6-inch move, 4+ weapon skill, 4+ ballistic skill, strength 4, toughness 4, 1 wound, 1 attack for the Tzaangors, and 2 attacks for the leader, the Twist Bray. And then leadership only 6 for the Tzaangors and 7 for the Twist Bray. Only a 6+ save, but importantly, in the Thousand Suns detachment, they would be getting the 5+ invul save from Brotherhood of Sorcerers, giving 5+ invul save to everything that's Arcana, Astartes, and Tzaangor. So a 5+ invul save on a 7-point model, quite interesting combination here for the durability. The keywords are infantry, Bray, Thousand Suns, Chaos, and Chinch. And in the Thousand Suns detachment ability, they are a mere servant, so you cannot include more Bray units than Rubric Marines and Scarab Terminators, just like in the Poxwalkers and Cultists for the Death Card. You can have more as you have Bubonic Astartes Infantry. So this is, let's say, if you take a squad of Rubric Marines, a couple of squad of Terminators, then you can add the equivalent squads of Tzaangors to that to fill up some gaps with some cheaper troops. They get the objective secure, and as I said, the 5+ invul save. And then looking at their weapons, the standard weapon is the Tzaangor blades for melee damage. So it's the strength of the user, so basically strength 4, AP -1, damage 1 weapon, and the abilities that they get +1 attack with this weapon. This is the standard. So a group of 20, you would be able to do a group of 10 would give you 21 attacks, and a group of 20 you would be doing 41 attacks. Yes. So the alternatively is to change out the blades and give them an auto pistol and a chainsword. Then they get a bit of shooting. Any number can replace the blades with the auto pistol and chainsword. So but the auto pistol is not very strong, of course. Or pistol 1, 12-inch range, strength 3, AP 0, damage 1, and the chainsword is close to the blades, so basically a strength 4, AP 0, damage 1, and you get +1 attack, so you get the same number of attacks, but you lose the benefit of the AP that could help you in melee. On top of these weapons, you have some equipment. The Brayhorn for 10 points gives them +1 to advance and charge rolls, which could be quite interesting for a melee unit like this. One of the Tzaangors can take it, or and you can also give them a herd banner for another Tzaangor. For 5 points, they can reroll morale tests, which can be quite interesting because they don't, as I said, they don't have a very high leadership and they don't auto pass morale like the Rubric Marines. So it looks from the stats here that we are talking about a cheap melee-oriented unit with a nice invul save here from the Thousand Suns detachment rules. Looking at the baseline damage output, comparing now the damage from the blades is the blue line, and then the orange is the chainsword, and basically the gray is when they are shooting their auto pistol. So if we have let's say per 100 points, if we have 10 of them, and we can see that they can do some damage per 100 points, not super strong. They can do some damage against horde type enemies. They can do a bit of damage against something like intercessors or something like that. Pull a couple of wounds in melee with the blades. The shooting is a bit lackluster with the pistol, only 12-inch. So I think probably it's better to stay with the Tzaangor blades for the extra AP-1 that gives you the benefit from the chainsword at least. And then looking at the Tzaangor's baseline durability per 100 points. So here we can see a variety of weapons shooting at the unit of Tzaangors, and how many shots would it take on average to kill 100 points. So this is corrected to 100 points. How much would it take to kill 100 points of Tzaangors? Here, for example, you would have 64 shots from a bolt rifle, or 48 shots from a normal plasma gun, or 48 shots from a heavy bolter. So it's quite helpful for them, especially for the high AP anti-infantry weapons, that they have the 5+ invul save. Here we can compare it to Death Guard's Poxwalkers, where they don't have the invul save, they have a 6+ feel no pain. So, and they only cost 5 points, so per point they are a bit more durable, but the durability is quite close anyway from Tzaangors to Poxwalkers. If we're looking at cultists, they don't have, they only have a 6+ save. They are not as durable as the Tzaangors are quite more durable than the cultists. Yeah, the benefit of the cultists is, of course, they're cheaper, but they are not as durable per point. And then comparing to the Rubric Marines and the Plague Marines, I was looking at in the last video, they are quite more, let's say, point effective against these high AP numbers. So a 7-point model with a 5+ invul save. Of course, this more cheaper infantry like the Tzaangors, the Poxwalkers, and the Cultists are if you can get your opponent to shoot their heavy weapons against them, then you are really point efficient and avoiding that they are shooting at your Marines that are more expensive, or your Terminators, of course. So here you can see they can take much more shots to be killed 100 points than the Marines and more elite type of infantry. Morale, as I said, could be an issue. The Tzaangors, they don't have a high morale. If you have a big group, you lose a couple, you could lose quite a few in morale and combat attrition. But if you take the Herd Banner, you can reroll some morale for 5 more points. So here I'm trying a new comparison table. Here looking at the Thousand Sons and the Death Guard troops. So here I'm looking at the average damage output versus the General Yanis 31 targets. The 31 targets I'm usually simulating with the lines per 100 points, and then looking at the durability, how many average shots does it take to be killed, looking at the anti-infantry type of weaponry that you saw in the previous table, and the more anti-vehicle, more strong heavy weaponry that you saw in the previous table. And here we have the average damage output of a unit at 24-inch shooting, 12-inch shooting, and then melee, and then we can add, let's say, melee plus the 12-inch as a combined damage output for some of the units. It makes sense. And here we can see the Thousand Sons units, the Rubric Marines with different weaponry. Here we have the Tzaangors with auto pistol and chainsword, and here we have the Tzaangor blade Thousand Sons here. And here comparing to the Death Guard, we have the Plague Marine, just the standard bolters and knives, the Blight Lords, again, combi bolters and axes as a standard, the Poxwalkers and the Cultists with the auto guns. We can see here that the Tzaangor blades, the Tzaangors with the blades in melee, they can do 3.7 wounds on average across these targets I'm simulating per 100 points, and that's way more than the Rubric Marines, and they are in line with the Poxwalkers here. And if you look at the anti-infantry weapons, the durability, with the higher the number here, the more durable a unit. So for example, one of the most durable units in the game, I believe, is the Blight Lords. Here it would take 69, 70 shots on average from this variety of weapons that I'm simulating to kill 100 points of Blight Lords. This is the highest. And here we see the Rubric Marines, the standard squad compared to the Plague Marines, where we show last video that they are quite equal in the durability. And here we see the Tzaangors a bit lower than the Marines, but still okay high, not as durable as Poxwalkers, let's say, but decent melee damage output like the Poxwalkers. Here we can see also important when selecting some cheaper troops is what is the minimum number of points you need to put in the squad, and the Tzaangors, the minimum is 70 points. Poxwalkers and cultists you can get for 50 points if to fill a slot as cheap as possible, let's say. So the cultists could be interesting in the Thousand Sons as well if you're trying to fill out a battalion or something like that. We can see also they have objective secure, which is important, but they are not core. All the core units, of course, the Marines, the Terminators, their damage output at least can be considerably buffed. And for something like the Plague Marines, the versatility of the weapons, you can really increase this damage output per point. So summarizing in this table, I think a decent baseline melee damage output similar to Poxwalkers. They can't come back to life as Poxwalkers, but quite durable for the points with a 5+ invul save. And then just a brief look at the Hall of Fame, let's say, for melee damage output versus the General Yanis 31 targets corrected for 100 points. We see the Tzaangors with the blades are somewhere close to the Poxwalkers and Assault Intercessors that have charged, so 3.7 wounds per 100 points. So quite okay, but not as high as something like a Possessed or a Chaos Spawn, or of course Deathstroke Terminators and some of the other really strong units, melee units out there. So that was basically looking at the baseline damage output and the baseline durability. So what can we do? Is there something to do to improve the damage output or the durability? So looking at a few buffs and combos. For the Tzaangors, a Tzaangor Shaman for 70 points has a 6-inch aura. Well, he gives +1 to hit to the Tzaangors. So instead of hitting on a 4+, they will be hitting on a 3+. So here you can see the baseline of the Tzaangors. Here the blue line, and then the yellow line. Here you can see if we are hitting on 3+, of course we get an increase, but this increase comes at a quite high cost. 70 points for the Shaman is basically what a small unit of Tzaangors can do, so it's not really very efficient per point. If you just have a Shaman to, let's say, buff one unit, you would need multiple Tzaangors to benefit basically from his carrying this extra cost around. There is a stratagem in Human Savagery for 2 command points, so a bit expensive, which allows the Tzaangors to reroll all to hit rolls in the fight phase in melee. This brings the damage output to the dark blue line, and if we combine the Shaman and the reroll all to hit, we can go to the brown line. So we could do something like per 100 points, maybe we could kill 4 intercessors in melee. But again, quite expensive. 2 command points, allowing us to reroll everything. Here you can see the damage output, the average of these lines, and they increase if we take the Shaman, the Inhuman Savagery, and then if we combine the Inhuman Savagery and Shaman. But the total damage we can do with a 20-man squad, we are only for let's say 2 command points, we are only adding 2.5 wounds, so it's not so many extra wounds we are putting in per command point. So this is probably a bit too expensive combos to be useful. Looking at some psychic powers that could be helpful. Let's say looking at some blessings psychic powers. There is the Presage psychic power for Warp 7 that gives a unit +1 to hit. So this would be like the Shaman aura here, giving them +1 to hit. Probably also better used on something with even higher damage output, of course. A temporal surge could be interesting for Warp 7, allows to pick up a unit in the psychic phase and make a normal move. And this could be good for a melee oriented unit like the Tzaangors. You can move them, then you can move them again, and maybe you can engage and tie up something and try to stay on the table or take an objective with the Tzaangors. The Weaver of Fates, also Warp 7, gives a unit 4+ invul. They already have a 5+ invul. Probably you can use it for for something else, but giving them a 4+ invul, of course, would improve even more their durability. And then Glamour of Change, Warp 6, gives a unit -1 to be hit if you really want to protect them a lot. It's like the Miasma of Pestilence of the Death card. But all in all, there are some buffs you can do, but I would say at least the aura and the stratagems are quite expensive, and probably it's quite situational if you want to buff their damage output. Reaching to the summary and final thoughts, the Tzaangor unit seems to provide some melee capabilities in the troop choice slot. They are quite cheap. They have a 5+ invul, which gives them decently durable. They have the objective secure to try to take something and stay on that one. Some uses come to mind. Keeping the backfield objective and screening other units, then probably they are best at the small squads. Probably another use could be to use them aggressively. You can propel them towards the enemy line by temporal surge, for example, or something else to hopefully engage and tie down enemy assets. In this context, the Brayhorn for 10 points, giving them +1 to their charge, could be interesting. And the Herd Banner to reroll morale. As I said, their morale is not very high, and rerolling the morale could help avoiding heavy casualties. So this concludes the video. What do you think about the Tzaangors? What has your experience been? I've been reading a little bit in the Thousand Sons forum, and people were a bit, let's say, underwhelmed of their damage output or their usefulness. But yeah, it seems to me that they could have some uses here. Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please press like and subscribe to the channel, where I will be bringing you more Warhammer videos, specifically more Death Card, more Thousand Sons, other Chaos when it comes around, and general interest Warhammer Mathhammer videos. And if you want to further support my efforts, please visit and become a patron on my Patreon page. I would really like to have some more Thousand Sons also people there to discuss in more detail and discuss new videos there. So with these words, General Yanis is signing out. Stay safe out there, and bye-bye.